Thank you for joining me. This is Duncan and Davis School of Memory and Intelligence Optimization. Now, this is to formally launch our online training. We're going to be taking our serial classes henceforth on how we can actually optimize our memories and intelligence. Now, though this training is meant for everyone who desires to improve the use of memory and intelligence, but it's primarily focused on students that are not doing so well in school. So that when we begin to see the impact on them, let's say you have a child now that is not doing very well, you see the impact of this training on the child, you can then come and also take this training, because this training could be applied to children and adults. That is just interesting. It could be applied to and can also be applied by every student and adult. All right. Now, this course encompasses, this training rather encompasses 5 courses. And these are the courses. The first course is titled The Fundamentals of Memory and Intelligence Optimization. The second course is Self-Concept and Brain Power Psychology. The third course is The Laws of Memory, because there are laws that govern the use of memory, the training of memory. And then the fourth course is Mnemonics, Techniques for Storing Information with Your Memory. And then the last one is Intelligence Upgrade Strategy. Now, this is going to be our first class. We're going to call it Course 1, Class 1. And this class is going to be on introduction. We're going to be an introductory class to this very training. Okay, and here we're going to be looking at why do we need to introduction? Why memory and intelligence optimization? Why should anyone ever think of optimizing his memory and intelligence? Okay, let me tell us the major reason. We are all human beings, and you can see the way we are called human beings, not human being. That B-E-I-N-G in English is a present continuous tense, meaning that we are humans that should be we should be in the process of being. In other words, we are creatures of improvement. We are creatures that are supposed to keep improving, getting better and better. That is why, though a day-old child and an 80-year-old person are equally human, one is not more human than the other, but one is more being than the other. You can see the difference. That is why, though is everything that's in the child, that's also in the adult does better, not because he's more human, but because he has attained a higher level of being as a human being. That then suggests to us that as human beings, we are creatures that should improve, and improvement only comes by learning. So we can also say we are creatures of learning. All right, we are just doing the introduction now. And in order for us to learn to improve, there are 2 inborn abilities in us. These abilities are given from birth, so we can learn and become better in the process of our being. These 2 abilities, learning abilities, are what we call memory and intelligence. Now, let us know that these 2 very learning abilities, they are interwoven, they work together. One cannot work outside the other. They are meant to work together. Though they are 2 independent learning abilities, but they are meant to work simultaneously. So we're going to look at how they should work in this introduction. We're going to look at the definition of memory, the definition of intelligence, and then how they are meant to work together. Alright, this material you are seeing in my hand is actually the course material for all the courses, for all the 5 courses that I mentioned. So if you are part of us, either online or in our offline training, you'll be able to get this material while we teach you. Alright. Okay. Now, let's look at what is memory. Let's define memory. Memory and intelligence, both of them, they are mental ability, because they are given to us in our mind. The abilities, they reside in our mind. So what is memory? Memory is the mental ability to store and recall information. Remember that We grow by information. We grow by what the kind of the data that we have, the different information that we have is what makes us. Then some will always say that the more informed you are, the more transformed you become. Information culminates in transformation. They say information is the commodity of kings. If you want to reign, you want to be outstanding in life, then you must always go for information. People that are more informed will get better. So memory is the ability to store that information that will get you better and get your life far better than it was. It can only be stored and recalled with your memory. So it's a mental ability for storing and recalling information. Good. And then what is intelligence? Intelligence is also a mental ability, but this time around it is a mental ability to acquire and apply knowledge and skill in order to get optimal result. Like the reason we acquire knowledge and skills for us to get the result that we desire. So now look at those two definitions. There are two keywords in that definition. Number one, mental. They share the same keyword. One, mental. That means it has to do with our mind. So your mind must be involved when it comes to training your memory and your intelligence. If you don't get your mind well engrossed in the training, there's no way you can get this training because they are all mental abilities. And then the second one, which is more crucial, is the word ability, mental ability. When you say the abilities, it means they are capacities that you need to improve upon. Every ability is something that can be improved upon. So if the ability means that both intelligence and memory are not just something you have, it's something you have that you can improve on. It's not like you having a chair and then you have it's a chair, I have a fridge. You cannot improve on it. It's just a fridge. But no, or you have a car, you cannot improve on it, except maybe it has issues, you don't want to go and refurbish it. But since it's an ability, just like driving ability, you can improve on it. Writing ability, you can improve on it. Speaking ability, you can improve on it. Whatever ability that you have. So for the fact that both of them, their abilities, it means that they could be improved upon. So you can see that the whole essence of this training is for improvement. So we can actually learn. There's one other thing I want to draw our attention to tell you how important our memory is. Just imagine that we do not have memory. Life will be so miserable. Life will be so aimless, you won't be able to get any result. Do you know that if you don't have memory, if you leave your home, you will not be able to return to your home? It's as serious as that. Or you put food on gas cooker, you will not be able to remember that you just placed food on gas that you need to go and check it. That means the food will eventually get bought forever. Or you take your child to school, you will not be able to remember that you need to go and take your child. To tell you how important your memory is. But yet most of us, we keep trivializing it and not getting it trained as we should, so it can actually give us the result. Now we have looked at the two definitions. The definition of memory to be mental ability to store and recall information, while intelligence is mental ability to acquire knowledge and skill, to acquire and to apply knowledge and skill. Now, how does these two work together? Now, in the process of acquiring knowledge, if someone gives you a particular knowledge, if your memory is not functional, you will not be able to learn that knowledge. That knowledge you want to acquire without it. Let's give a very typical example and see how these two they work together. Let's just do a simple math linear equation that anybody can know. Don't be afraid of it. Math is not hard. It's the way you are taught that makes it hard. I'm going to just give you one very simple math that you used to see to be complex, but it's not complex. Simple math. Now, let's say someone teaches you simple linear equation, and it tells you that s plus s is equals to 2s. What this simply means that this is 1s, this is another 1s. When you add the two together, it will give you 2s. And then it now tells you 2s plus s is equals to 4s. Now telling you, that with this 2s, this another 1s plus another 1 making 4s. Now, if the person now tells you, okay, then what is 3s plus s plus 2s? Now, with this knowledge that you've already got from these two as examples that the person has given to you, as a way of acquiring knowledge now, you now know that, okay, this is 3s plus 1s plus 2s, so now give you 6s. Now, the very moment you are able to solve this, and someone now gives you another question again, maybe say s plus 5s plus 2s. plus 3s. That was the answer. The moment you are able to get it, it means that you have acquired the knowledge, you've acquired this knowledge. And what has enabled you to acquire that knowledge is your intelligence. And you know that all this maths, that there are other advanced maths, there are other equations, other linear equations that might be a little bit more complex than this. Now, with this knowledge, you'll be able to know the other one. So there's need for that your intelligence that enabled you to get this answer, to know all of these, to be improved. So if you are able to know that, okay, this is 6s, so this one is now 1s plus 5s, 6s, plus under 2s, 8s, plus under 3s, 11s. The moment you are able to know this, it means that your intelligence is working. It's your intelligence that is in you that makes you to make it work. But remember that the reason you could know it to this point is because when you were taught this one, and then the person gave this as first example, when this second one is now given as second example, let's say this one is first example, this one is second example. Okay. Now the reason you are able to understand this second example is because you can remember this first example. So you can see that it was your memory that makes you to be able to remember this first example that now gave you the capacity to now understand the second example. And that is so the reason you cannot know this one is because you were able to know this one and it became knowledge in you, and then you are able to remember it to be able to know this one. Then you are able to remember this two to be able to know this. So you can say that ability to recall what you have learned helps you to learn better. So memory and intelligence. Memory is to remember. Memory is to intelligence is to know. Just summarize this way. Memory is to remember, to learn, store and remember. While intelligence is to learn and have the knowledge. So you can see that memory and intelligence, they are very clear. You see this simple capacity in our mind, these simple two abilities in our mind is all that we need to learn whatever we want to learn. Any kind of body of knowledge you want to acquire, the moment you are able to optimize your memory and intelligence, it will become so easy, no matter the class, no matter the course. I remember when we were doing a course called econometrics in school. I'm an economist. For those of us in economics, you know how complex that course is. But if your intelligence is, you don't have high intelligence, I can then say that if you don't have high intelligence, you'll be able to cope with some complex courses. And those complex courses, they are meant for us. It is the degree to which you have been able to develop your memory and your intelligence that will determine how you will be able to address or be able to give solution to other questions that appear to be higher. Alright, for instance, this is the linear equation. How about someone is not teaching you quadratic equation? So with this simple linear equation, you'll be able to upgrade your learning skill to be able to do quadratic equation in maths. Okay, this is not a maths class. I'm just giving this example because I'm a maths person. Alright, so all of this now prove to us that the reason we are undertaking this training is so that we'll be able to grow systematically in the improvement of our memory and our intelligence. And these two, they go together. You cannot take memory, when you are acquiring knowledge, you cannot take memory out of the equation. So for you to get knowledge, for you to actually acquire knowledge, it is actually memory plus intelligence. Without memory and intelligence, you will not be able to actually acquire knowledge and be able to record the knowledge to mind. Remember that the whole essence of memory working with intelligence, so that by intelligence you get the knowledge, by memory you'll be able to remember the knowledge as long as you live. Like some of these linear equations we were taught when we were in JS1, and up to now we still know them because our memories are okay. So all of this training of this in memory and intelligence optimization is actually to upgrade what we call your intelligence quotient and also your memory quotient. Is to upgrade your intelligence quotient and your memory quotient. Don't leave your memory aside when you are trained, when you are acquiring knowledge. Make sure you carry your memory and your intelligence alongside in the process of your learning. So in this school, what we do is to train you strategies with which you can improve numerics, that with which you can improve your memory. Some basic knowledge you need to have for you to improve your memory and also your intelligence. The first focus on memory. And then after memory, we will now come to intelligence. In our next class, which is course 1, class 2, we'll be talking about the logic of memory, because now we're going to first of all focus on memory. Then later on we're going to look at intelligence. So after this class, now the next time we'll be talking about intelligence is when we get to the last course. So every other thing we'll be looking at now is memory, how do you store information, what are the strategies, what stage should you put yourself, what are the diseases of memory, what are the philosophies of super memory. We're going to be looking at a whole lot of subtitles, sub-courses under each course. So the next slide, like I said, we'll be looking at the logic of memory. The logic of memory. If this video has been resonated with you, please like, share, and subscribe to this channel, so that, and then you can also hit that notification bell, so that each time our next class lecture comes up, you'll be notified, so you can follow us to improve your memory and even that of your child as you take our classes. Thank you very much for watching this video. We'll see you in our next video, our next class, the logic of memory.